All right, Firdi, welcome.
Thank you, Johnny Katz. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you, man. I don't know much about you. That's why I'm interested in talking to you. We catch each other fleetingly on the circuit.
We do, don't we? Yeah.
I know you don't want to go too much into it, so don't. But you run a wonderful room in Hawthorne, and you had Dilrook on Wednesday.
We did.
In the main cinema.
Yeah. So we usually run a gig in the jazz room, which is I mean, I don't want to sound biased, but it's a fucking great space for comedy.
It's fantastic if you can get the opportunity to do it without pestering Ferdy too much.
Yeah, Lido Cinemas in Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good little spot for a little gig. It's a small room, but yeah, we've got on to doing bigger shows in the actual cinema, which is a pretty fucking cool vibe. Yeah, we had Dill on last week and. This week, and yeah, we packed out one of the cinemas. I don't know, it's a gig in the end. It's a big gig, but it's just a little bit of a different vibe doing it in a cinema. I don't know.
You mean from the small room to the big room?
That's obviously a change, but just even seating comedy in a cinema is like different because comedy audiences are generally speaking, you're going to be sitting unless you're doing theater gigs. You're generally sitting, flat. Everyone's flat, and this is theatre sitting, so on an incline, which is it is like it's not the biggest theatre in the world. It's 100 seater in the end, a cinema, but yeah, there's something about it. I don't know if it's more intimate or it creates a bigger feel to a room. But
I'm interested in your take on this because I had a discussion recently with someone that went and saw Jim Jeffries.
Yeah.
And Jim Jeffries played to a theatre style
audience.
And they said that he brings something different that is required in those rooms, different to a club set.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's philosophical or social commentary or a certain depth that's required to get across to a room that size. There's a reason why they're there, thousands of them or hundreds, sitting in like a theatre style.
Yeah.
I'm new to that. Like I haven't really done a lot of theatres, but I do get a feeling, I guess if you're lucky enough to make that jump, you would have to bring something different. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Man,
Always funny. It doesn't matter.
I feel like funny is funny, but then again, this gig was, it was marketed as a headliner gig, with supporting acts. So maybe there's that element of people are going to a theatre to see this person, which in most theatre gigs, well, pretty much all comedy theatre gigs, it would be going to see this person or going to see these people. You're not going to, like, whereas club gigs you're going to a comedy night or you're going to go comedy night and see these group of people. So maybe there's that added element of show because you're seeing one directed fucking person. Like, I don't know if it's... Yeah, but then, we had supporting acts. It ended up being... It is essentially a lineup night with a headliner. So there's that same element of 15, 20-minute spots each, 10-minute spots each, and... Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like it could be a psychosomatic thing as well, where it's like it feels like it's a bigger thing because you're performing in a theatre because everyone's looking. I don't know if everyone looking down on you changes the status of you as a performer.
Maybe. Do you think we're also cheating a little bit as comedians performing in comedy clubs that are exposed to bars and alcohol? Does that help us?
Yeah, I reckon that does.
Because a theatre, it's different.
Yeah.
Like, you go in cold into a theatre. You may have one alcoholic drink outside, but
no one's getting up. You got to wait for intermission. So there's that. There is that element.
Total
of
commitment.
But it's. I think I kind of feel that that's fucking better. Like it tests you more.
Way more. It's no there's no one's spotting you, to use a gym analogy. No one's helping you lift the weight.
Yeah.
It's
a great analogy.
You're all on your own.
Yeah.
So your material has to hold up.
Yeah. But also in saying that, when you're going to a theatre gig, you're going to see somebody. So there's the opposite end of that is that it's like when you buy tickets to a certain act, you're already, as an audience member, you're already excited to see it. There's already like kind of laughter built up in you because you're going, I'm going to see fucking I mean, this is big level theatre, but
There's that wonderful trust.
yeah, there's that trust. I'm going to go see Chappelle. I'm going to go see Jim Jeffries. I'm going to go see Dave, whoever you want to fucking be. It's you're seeing the name, so you're already expecting a laugh. Whereas in a club set, you're going to go see comedy.
Who's this cunt?
Who's this cunt? There's 12 people on the lineup. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe that opens the door to going, is there a possibility of putting lineup shows in theatres more and build them as lineup shows, not this person plus special guests? I don't know if that's an opportunity, because you are invested more when you're sitting quietly with one drink versus fucking getting up in the middle of a set, going to the bar. And that happens in the jazz room as well, where, there's no bar in the venue. And it kind of, you're in more, I feel like it.
Yeah, if you can get off, I like your gig. If you can get off to a good start and grab them, you can hold them.
Yeah.
They're easier to hold, but you've just got to get them.
Yeah.
Because, it's a theatre style. It's acoustically, it's sublime.
Yeah.
So every word is beautiful.
It's fucking close as well. So
Very.
you're the furthest person sitting away from you is spitting distance still. So it's kind of like, I feel like it's really hard to bomb at a gig like that, at least at Lido, even though I've seen it plenty of times and I've fucking done it plenty of times. But it's like, it's also, they're a good gauge of how well you're doing. So if you're like, you're not going to, it's hard to like bomb, but if you're doing okay, they're going to laugh okay. If you're fucking crushing, they're going to laugh to a fucking crushing set. It's weird because I watch that and I'm like, they know. Like what I'm thinking, how well the act is performing, that's exactly how well they're laughing. Most of the time. Not all the time, obviously. And again, you want to fucking blame your audience a lot of the time when shit goes wrong. But it's like, I feel like at a gig like that, they're a very good gauge because they're so present. But at the same time, they're in the dark as well. So, I don't know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of fucking science you can delve into about how an audience is seated, what, distractions they have with them and who they're there and why they're there.
Yeah.
But in the end, if you're fucking good at comedy, you'll do well,
Yeah, you will. I think so. Yeah, definitely. In terms of comedy, you've been gigging for how long now?
Fuck, man. Probably it'll be 10 years in October since my first gig.
Okay. Have you started to something weird about stand-up comedy, which I describe it similar to being a football player. You do the same material, but you have form slumps.
Yeah.
Where you're just not in form.
Fuck
where the joke's not landing. And you're really confused.
Yeah.
Have you started going through those waves of form, like in and out?
Yeah, dude. I had I've found this year's been good. This year's been really good. But obviously pandemic, that last year when things were kind of open for a bit, even 2020 and 2019, after doing like a solo show, first one, only one, I went through a big slump, like material-wise and just fucking emotionally with stand-up, because I'm just like, you kind of did one thing, it went really fucking well, and then you're like, the pressure's on to back it up.
How long did the slump last for?
I reckon 2 years. I reckon it's I'm only coming out of it this year.
Wow.
But that's also pandemic related.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
Fucking. And don't get me wrong, I had great gigs and great sets in there, but I wasn't in love with stand up as much as I used to be in the past. And then, so yeah, definitely waves. And I feel like, I don't know about right now, like this very moment. I haven't been gigging much in the last couple of weeks. And I've been to a few shows. I've run a few shows. I've obviously been doing my show. And audiences are thinning out a little bit, winter related. I don't know. But I'm kind of consciously aware that a slump might happen. I'm getting into fucking second mind stage where you're just like, is this a slump? Is this gonna happen now? Am I gonna hate this shit again, or is comedy gonna suck for a little while again? And ironically, the more I'm getting aware of that, it's not, because I'm getting aware before it kind of happens, before I have a few shit gigs and go.
Does that make you work harder? Is that what happens?
It
you
makes
write
me
more, or you look through your material, you work out
a little bit of that. It
listen
makes me
back.
also take out the fucking inner mind, like being stuck in your mind thing. It makes me get a little bit more present, I feel like, because I'm starting to get this with this kind of with this year. I was saying, especially having a lot more fun has been because I've been getting out of my head pre-set, pre gig, and yeah, going through my material fine, but kind of getting out of that. Is this good enough? Is this me? Should I be writing this shit? Can this be better? Is this fucking like all that fucking inner monologue, inner critic bullshit that's like that fucks with literally every comedian. And you're kind of just having fun with the stuff that you know and the stuff that you're about to try. You go, well, it's new. It is, it's guaranteed to be shit. Even if it goes well, it's new stuff. So you kind of, I'm having fun with it. Is essentially the part that I'm trying to fucking say.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy because you do this shit. The whole point of doing stand up realistically is like, I don't know what, like for fun. It's fucking dumb shit. Like you're talking dumb shit or thought provoking shit with laughs at the end. Like it's silly. Like fucking the whole premise of doing comedy is stupidity. It's fun. It's like,
Yeah.
it's taking the piss out of fucking life. And the crazy irony is that comedians get so fucking serious about this shit for years.
It's funny you say that because I took a friend to a gig once and she was like looking from an outsider's looking in perspective. Yeah. She really enjoyed it. And she looked at me and she said, everyone's laughing, but up the back, people aren't laughing. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're the comedians. Yeah. This is, if we find something really, really funny, we're busy dissecting it.
Yeah.
We're like, how did he get to that? Or how did she do that? I see what they've done.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And
it's fucked, isn't it?
It happens. I mean, I'm sure it happens with every fucking industry. Right, is that it has to. But also, like, it gets, because I feel like with stand-up, because you're on stage by yourself, and I mean, to a lesser extent, other forms of comedy as well. But when you're doing stand-up on there by yourself on stage, you're really vomiting your own personality out to everybody. So, like, you can understand why it hits you, why it can affect you so much, why there's so much, like, consciousness around who you are and what you're doing and is this working and is this right. But at the same time, it's freeing as well. And it's
very freeing.
You don't focus on that because you're so in your own fucking head. And you don't focus on the fact that and when you do a solo show, it kind of comes back because then you can actually see the level of control that you have for an hour. And you go, fuck, I've got these people in this room. They've paid money. Most of them won't leave before the fucking hour. And then you fucking go, okay, I can control this. And then you set your first couple of shows. And this is just from one solo show I've done and only a half run at a festival. But you feel that after about 5 or 6 shows, you're like, okay, I know that they're here. I feel safe that people are going to fucking stay. I feel safe that they're already invested in you. And it takes out, like, you have fun with the shit that you're kind of gonna do. And then that's the whole element of, like, what I was talking about before. It's like when you fucking dive deep into comedy, like when you go, like, the essence of comedy is the fact that it's fun. It's like it's dumb shit, like, so, and people, and like, you forget that because you're so busy dissecting how good it is or how well you can do it or how much you even fit in or what you look like or or whether you should be fucking focusing on other aspects of your life and why you're out at fucking 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night when you've got kids. I mean, I don't. It doesn't fucking bother me, but there's all this other peripheral shit that comes in with comedy that kind of can, and that's again with any.
So do you say that to yourself when you start feeling that pressure piling up? Or do you just say what you just told me to make yourself relax and get a different perspective to go, hey man, this is just fun. It's stand up. Just
this year especially,
because the more you're loose on stage, the better you'll be.
Yeah. This year, I've tried to tell myself that a lot. Like, it's kind of, I've come out of like a while, and obviously like pandemic, whatever. But like, you kind of go, everyone went very inward in the last 2 years, and probably are still lingering there. And I know I definitely did. But then you fucking come out and you get to do this shit again. After doing it for 8 years, like, it's funny, it's got taken away from you for fucking 2 years. And then when you start doing it again, I haven't taken it for granted as much. And that's why you're so present with it. Like, you just fucking, like, who cares if you've been doing the same material for the last 6 months? Like, fucking have fun with it. And then if you write some new and it's dog shit, have fun fucking bombing. Like, have fun. Like, a bomb's brutal, but if you can, like, laugh at yourself while doing it, like, there's a real fucking beauty in, like, in self-deprecation in comedy. Not as part of your set, but as part of the actual outcome of your set.
Yeah.
Because again, in the end, you're a fucking comedian. Like, if you can't laugh at yourself... I've been on stage and seen someone bomb, and then an MC who knew that person who bombed take the piss out of them, and this person just fucking blew up. Like, just got really pissed off.
Wow, so he's bombed. They've bombed on stage. They've come off. The MC's gone back on and roasted the
Roasted
bomb.
them, which is
this a big room or an open mic scene?
It was at my room.
Right.
And it was, they knew each other. They were mates.
Oh, they're mates.
I believe. But, and the roasting went fucking well. The roasting crushed.
Right.
And it was like 2 lines. It was like one or two riffs. But the other person, like, took it to heart. And I can understand that. You bomb, it hurts, it sucks. But at the same time, like, you fucking bomb and somebody has made you funny. Like, if anything, you should appreciate the comedy of that. No, I know it's a lot, and I've been not victim of that and not been able to take it. And I know it's hard, but, like, in the essence, that's kind of where I want to, like, get to a little bit, where you kind of, like, really don't take none of it fucking that seriously, because it is all, like, the whole purpose, as introspective, as deep, as philosophical you want to be with your comedy. Like, in the end, it's to fucking laugh at the absurdity of shit.
Absolutely, and if you can let yourself receive bullets like that, like I did a gig at the lounge last night, and friends came from work, and a couple of jokes didn't land, and they pointed it out.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Fuck you! You didn't point out the 95% that worked."
Yeah,
straight away it was like, "Oh, that was a nervous moment when that joke didn't land," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, thanks." And then I was like, "Fucking, they're just trying to make me laugh. They're just trying to pull my pants down at school."
Did that sounds like a fucking, like, a mother criticism, man.
Yeah.
That sounds like my mum having a go at me, going,
yeah,
those bits weren't funny.
They weren't.
It was like,
yeah.
Roast me. Fucking, if you got a good joke, roast me.
Yeah.
But, like, it seems like it's just an observation about how shit you went.
Pretty much. Yeah. They didn't focus on the overall gig. They focused specifically on my failings in a set, but...
Sounds like my mates too, man.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for overall.
It
thickens you up.
Yeah.
Because, the essential part of being a comedian is learning to appreciate a bomb and learning to bomb, understanding a bomb, and listening to when you're bombing and knowing that you're bombing.
Yeah. That's the fucking big one, because it's like...
There's nothing worse than a comedian coming off stage going, "That wasn't too bad." And you're like, "Fuck, you got no laughs."
Yeah, or even just like a bomb, and it's like... They're going through a fucking bomb, and, like, and I've done this again, but, like, it's not going well. You can hear nothing, and you just do this element where you're just persevering with the next 2 minutes because it's your written script, and that comes with, building up a bank of material. That comes with experience and stagecraft and being aware and stuff like that. But it's like, this first 2 minutes is not working. You have to have the presence to fucking change tact somehow.
Yeah, so what do you do? Like, let's say, if you can remember back to the last time you bombed.
Last gig, man.
Do you stop and address it?
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
100%. 100%. I feel like you have to now.
Yeah, you don't go into autopilot because then you're not learning.
I used to, and some gigs I still will.
Yeah.
Definitely still do that, because it's like either A, it's new stuff, or B, you're so nervous about this gig that you're like, I have to do the material.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like just stopping and just, as if it's a simple line as, like, as simple as, like, this is not going well. Like, fucking audiences love that. They love it when you fucking realize that, because that's the whole part of, like, one of the funniest thing that people find about a comedian is being able to relate to them. If you're relating to how they're feeling right now about you, it's fucking perfect. Like, it works. And then you can obviously riff off that. And then, like, what I've seen is that people, stop, like, really, really good comedians stop, be aware of them bombing, comment on that, and then dissect why they're bombing, like which part of the joke sucks. And it's fucking gone, for the most part, gone really fucking well, because they see, like, it's bringing them back to, like, okay, I'm seeing how you're feeling. I'm feeling the same way, and this is why you're feeling this way. And it's like, it's as good as dissecting a good joke. It's dissecting a fucking good bomb. But it's also, it's just awareness. It's like being present. You hearing no one laughing at you. You fucking, yeah, sometimes it's worse for you to address it, but like, if you address it, it's like getting back down to the fucking level of the audience and going, okay, I feel this.
Yeah, it's almost like when you start bombing, when you're early on in your career, it's an out of control car and you have no idea what to do. You can't think straight. You start sweating too much. You forget the next line of your set. You can't string words together, and you really go downhill. And then as you start bombing over the years, you learn. Okay, I know what the car's out of control, but I know what to do, sort of. And you're able to minimize the damage by not breaking out in a sweat, acknowledging the bomb, and then your editing department in your brain has a certain clarity that goes, okay, try this now. So rather than a frantic monkey years ago smashing the shit up, going, I don't know, I'm fucking out of here, I'm checking out.
It's like driving off a cliff and you're still holding the steering wheel and steering the car. It's like, no, open the fucking door, release your seatbelt, see if you can fucking jump, you do all of this shit.
You try it.
It's like, somebody said it's cowardly to eject on your material. I'm like, no, it's the opposite of cowardly. It's like, it's cowardly, it's not cowardly, but it's like, trust yourself enough to go, I can hear that this is not working, let's stop and fucking reevaluate and fucking change it up. Because it's like, otherwise you're just going to keep driving it. Like, you could pull it back. You know, a really good punchline is coming that might pull it back. And again, that comes with trust. So you go, if you trust, but if you're just going monotone through this gear and it's dying, I think there's some level of awareness to be able to stop and go, all right, I feel you. And that's what I've tried to do a lot more. I still don't. I still miss it, especially when you're doing new stuff or you got a really good gig that you want to impress at and you're on autopilot because you're so nervous and your mouth dries up halfway through this material that's bombing and all you do is try and fucking run through it and you're like, and you get offset, you listen back to it and you're like, why didn't I stop? Like, I'm going 100 fucking words a minute, like a second. It's like, why didn't I fucking stop?
Yeah, exactly. Two of my favorite things that happen on stage are the first one when I'm kind of bombing, they're not going with me, and I break script, and then there's a pause and a silence, and the crowd acknowledge that, okay, this guy's clearly lost it now.
Yeah.
But then I don't get scared. I stay focused, and this spark of inspiration happens.
Yeah.
And I say something fucking funny. And it's happened a small handful of moments in my life.
Yeah.
But that's become gold material.
Yeah.
Like, I developed my snoring joke out of that. I developed my Zoom wanking joke out of that. And I was like, they came from moments on stage where I was dying and the audience were like, well, this guy's awkward now.
Yeah.
And I went, I'm awkward. But I didn't say I'm awkward. I let them see the awkwardness.
Yeah.
I just gave up. I surrendered. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then from that, I stayed rigid, focused, and I was able to create. That's one of my favorite moments. And the other one is when the crowd's exceptionally silent, almost like in unison, and they're just listening to every word you say.
Yeah.
I love those moments.
It's a fucking
it's a lot
good
of fun.
moment.
Apart from the obvious of like big booming laughter.
Yeah. Silent in listening or silent in hating you?
Listening.
Okay.
Intense.
Yeah,
like
I love
intense
that.
silence. Like they're waiting to see what's next.
Yeah.
So you started 10 years ago, man. And I wanted to ask you about your background, what your parents thought of you starting stand-up. Are they cool? Because I know, mine are like...
Ethnic parents,
ethnic,
man.
Because I studied a degree at university.
I studied too, baby. So
yeah.
Fucking wasted it. Well, so
can you tell me your background first?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, what?
I know you're Iranian.
I'm Indian with Persian origins. So I'm my people. They're an old Zoroastrians, which are old Persian religion, and then they kind of got persecuted in Persia, which is now Iran, and then they kind of...
Is Persia and Iran the same thing, or am I doing a disservice by saying, oh, you're from Persia, you're Iranian?
So Persia doesn't exist anymore, but it sounds way cooler than Iran.
It fucking does.
Yeah. But Persia was, I think, a bigger empire, and then Iran...
Persia was massive.
Yeah, it's massive. A lot. So most, like, Iran was part of Persia, I guess, but they were never. I don't know the exact history. I wish I fucking did because I could sound a lot more intelligent right now. But I know
from Greek history, we were always like in school, we were learning. Oh, here we go again, another war with the Persians. One of the biggest armies the world has ever seen.
Yeah, it was fucking bonkers.
But that's the way it is. Persia became Iran, and ancient Greece became fat Greek guys that run fish and chip shops.
Pretty much the same thing.
It's that shit.
Yeah. And then so then we went to India, and then we were kind of.
So you were persecuted in.
And this is probably about 1,500 years ago.
Oh wow!
So then so it's practically Indian.
But how many migrated from Persia?
Well, I don't know, but there's not many of us left. Zoroastrian people are like one of the oldest monotheistic religions, and it's only 120,000 of us left in the world. And I'm obviously doing it no service because it's
Holy fuck,
but it's a fucking small amount of people.
So you're old people like the Assyrians, like one of the oldest languages.
Our initial language, which none of us speak anymore. Maybe the original people in Iran do, but. Yeah, our old languages are like probably older than the Assyrians. I don't know for sure. Don't get me wrong.
Can you tell me what you were again? What that?
Zoroastrian.
Zoroastrian.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that sounds fucking.
It sounds fucking mythical.
That should be on your Tinder profile.
It should be,
Zoroastrian.
Shouldn't it? But it's like it's a fucking.
You get some crystal bitch going, yay, I love him.
But it's like I feel like because I'm, when you grow up with something, you always, especially fucking. Second generation immigrants, you grow up with your cultural background and you either dive deep into it or you're like, oh, it's not me. And this is a religion.
So what are Zoroastrians like?
It's a religion. So it's like it's a
Islamic?
No, it's a separate religion.
You're kidding?
Yeah, man.
Can you give me a crash course? What it's about? I'm exceptionally fascinated.
I really fucking wish I could, but I'll tell you two of the most interesting things.
Give me what you know, man.
Okay.
I love this shit.
So it's a religion. All I really know is fire is sacred in our religion.
Fire is sacred.
Yeah, fire is sacred. So I think it's like a conduit to the God, to our God. And then that's really all I know. Otherwise, all the normal fucking cruxes of religion.
Are there many of you living in bushland Victoria during summer?
I'm trying to think. There should fucking be, shouldn't there? It's like we can't be firemen or women.
What a place to be. So Zoroastrians have a sacred place for fire because they believe it has a connection to the gods.
Yeah.
Okay,
So like some of the fires that have been burning in the temples have been burning for like 100 years. Thousands of years.
Wow.
No, maybe not 1,000, a few hundred or something like that. They just keep them
stoking.
Flame on, baby. And the most interesting thing I like to tell people about are the towers of silence. So traditionally in Zoroastrian religion, when somebody dies, you don't bury them, you don't cremate them. You go take them to a tower of silence, which is just like an open air tower with just like, big steps and levels, and you just leave the body out in the open. Again, quote me or don't quote me. Some of it isn't probably precise, but you leave the body out in the open for vultures to eat, as in giving back death to the planet, which is fucking beautiful. But here's the interesting part, right? Because there is a tower of silence in Mumbai, Mumbai in India, which is where a large proportion of Zoroastrians are. And
so you leave the body for the vultures.
Basically, yeah, that's what it is. It's just
I think that happens at
very
the steps
sexy,
of Flinders Street Station.
That also true, yeah. Like if there were
some of the people there are fucking dead.
Yeah, and we, if we were more open to allowing conversion stuff like that, I'm like, take the junkies from fucking Flinders, put them in towers aside. But here's the thing, right? In India, and I think this started happening like in Mumbai, probably like late 80s and early 90s, because of. And even probably earlier this century as well, but because of industrialization around the towers, and also around the towers of silence, and also vultures dying out because of a antibiotic or anti-inflammatory that humans take, but also farmers would feed to cows. Cows would die, vultures would eat cow carcasses, and it would kill the vultures off. And because of all of that,
there were no vultures to eat
humans. So bodies were just rotting in the towers, which is fucked. And it's just like, and there's like the people snuck in, took photos, and there was a big furor about it in the community because it's just like, that's my grandma.
So was this happening in the late 80s?
I think 90s it started happening more and more, and then early 2000s. So yeah, and it was just like it's like people snuck in, and it's like she died like 2 years ago, and they just got photos of these carcasses just like rotting. It's fucked. It's brutal, but it's like I kind of find it funny. But
Absolutely, there's a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, but
so they had to get for the first time ever a non-Zoroastrian person in there, which was a vulture specialist from the UK to breed vultures. Like I think either on the property or like right near the property, and they bred a bunch of vultures to basically come back and eat the fucking.
was the body left dressed?
I don't know.
Or was
actually.
it
I don't know.
naked?
It's a
or-
naked body.
Yeah,
I,
because
I feel. Is
of-
it funnier if it's naked?
well, it's easier for the vultures. They'd
Yeah,
be
I
grateful.
know.
It's like, thanks, I don't
I
have to
feel
take
like
his
it.
belt
Yeah,
off.
I feel like
zip
it
his
would be.
jeans.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's just like now there's just a bunch of dicks just lying around.
Do vultures eat bone as well?
That's a really good question.
I-
I feel like they would, or at least a softer bone. No, they don't, because you see in the cartoons, the bones are always left. And if anything,
Yeah.
I've learned is cartoons, nature
accurate,
always
absolutely.
accurate, always accurate.
I just can't believe, I can't imagine anything more Stephen fucking King
Yeah, it's
than walking past a dead mum or a dead grandmother that's getting pecked
yeah.
as you're on
That's
your way
very
to work.
Stephen King. I mean, that's why people aren't generally allowed in there, apart from. And again,
Right.
a lot of my info on this isn't factual. So if any of my relatives are listening, ever listen to this,
Yeah, of course. It's
they'll be very offended, and I don't really give a fuck. But also, I don't know enough. And like right now, I don't know what the status is right now. I don't know if it's back. I don't know if they've shut it down. I don't know if vultures are still missing, because I feel like with the way fucking, in the environment is in any industrialized city, it's
Yeah.
no matter what you do, there's not going to be fucking vultures. But it's a fucking fascinating way to go.
fascinating. So fascinating. It sounds like something from a Star Trek
I
episode.
know it does, doesn't it?
It's like this bizarre religion and on another planet.
sounds
and they're
like something
this
like
is
it-
what we
yeah.
do. But I can, if you distill it and take away the freaky nature of it, it's no different to our religion in terms of you give back the body. The soul is gone,
Yeah.
and the body has to be consumed by the earth.
Yeah.
In your case, Zoroastrians, by the vulture.
It's
But
yeah,
it's
it's pretty
still
direct.
giving
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're the same atoms. They're going to break down and go back into the earth or into a vulture and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So it's a very spiritual religion,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, in terms of the body is the shell.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what it means. You'd probably interpret it better than I did.
So
But
they're the two things you know about Zoroastrian.
that's the two things I know best, and the two things that are best conversation and podcast worthy.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's kind of like very, very religion-y stuff. They're very financially, they're very sound people. Like some
Are
of
they,
the-
do they still exist today? Is your mum practicing?
very, very heavily practicing as well. So they do. And it's a mix with people here. Obviously, it's going to be a mix of like people who are still strict, but then a lot of people who are just,
Yeah. Do you know anything about the Zoroastrian gods? Like who they are? Like, is it like ancient Greece? Like we had Zeus, who was god of everything.
No, there's
doing
there's one who's kind of
Poseidon.
the Aura Mazda, which is who the Mazda car is named after.
For real?
I'm not fucking joking.
No, get fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
You're blowing my mind. You
Yeah.
gotta say that again.
It's
too
Aura
much.
Mazda.
Elra Mazda is
Yeah.
a god,
Yeah, which is like I think the overarching god. And
like
then,
our Zeus.
Yeah, and then Zarathustra, which is like the prophet,
Yep.
like the kind of Jesus equivalent, I guess. And I think that's it. you
Yeah.
know, and it's always like because it's where most of us are in India now. People assume that there's like fucking 50 gods like Hinduism, but I think it's just those two.
And how's our car Mazda named after him?
I don't know. I just think
But
whoever,
that's not a joke.
I'm pretty sure. Look, either it's something
Maybe
that
the
we've
CEO of the company, Mazda,
yeah, because
was
it sounds
Zoroastrian?
fucking great. I don't think it was specifically because I just think it just sounded great and they did it. And don't get me wrong, this could also be wrong. This could be just something I've been told from 5 years old, because this is the kind of shit that our parents would do. It's just like say that's how because when you got not many of us left on the world, like there's many ways that people will say things to you to prop it up. Again, I feel like it is true though, because it sounds fucking great and it sounds like a good name for a car or a clothing brand or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll go with it. And
Yeah.
what's the prophet's name?
Zarathustra
Zarathustra.
or Zoroaster if you're going to read like in Western
All right.
like theological scripts or literature.
Did Zoroaster walk the earth?
Uh,
Was he mortal and then he ascended? Like, is it similar?
you are really testing me, but
Sorry, man.
nah, man. I think
There's so many parallels with
yeah.
other religions.
I think he was mortal. I believe he was mortal and walked the earth. But I think a lot of other religions took influence from Zoroastrianism, from what I understand. Even like the Baha'i religion, which is another kind of like offshoot religion in Iran and Persia, and they took a lot from it. I think Christianity got elements from Zoroastrianism as well, or different. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot in there, but
Okay, so Zoroastrian religion was never a dominant religion in Persia back in the day.
I
It
think
wasn't
it
like
was.
Catholicism.
I think it was
It
back
was.
in the day. Like
So like Xerxes the Great, those emperors that
Yeah.
tried to conquer Greece,
Yeah.
all of them, they were Zoroastrian.
this is a
'Cause
fucking
that's
great question.
That's an
I don't know.
amazing
Because when was that? When was all?
longevity
Yeah.
of religion. We're
When
talking
was?
about 400 BC.
Yeah, I think we were.
Don't quote me, but
I don't know if we
you're-
were dominant then. I'm not sure. I wish I fucking knew. Like honestly, because that's a really good question. Because all the Persian, gods and warriors and fucking folklore and stuff like that. I don't know if that because they never mentioned that there's Zoroastrian. I feel like we were more dominant before.
Yeah. Do
So-
you know why you were persecuted? If I look at it looking at it on face value, Catholicism ascribes fire to hell.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it's interesting how you bestow fire on a higher plane.
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
fire is that's how God comes.
We I don't know why we were persecuted by Islam.
Yeah.
When they came into that region. I don't know why specifically. I don't know if it was just a territorial thing, either convert or get the fuck out. But that's all I know. That's all. Like
Yep.
I don't know specifically why. I feel like it may have just been a territorial we're in now.
Okay.
And then there's like stories of people who are, and this again comes from family members, so they could be building it up. But there are stories of people in modern day Iran that were generations back. Like we're talking, 15, 20 generations back. Zoroastrian, and they're slowly as Iran slowly gets a little bit more liberated here and there, not that they are, but slowly things are getting a bit more accepted in Iran. They're slowly opening that door to what they originally were again. But again, that's hearsay.
It says a lot about the human spirit. Like you can't put someone down, man. Like what's happening in Ukraine, Russia's trying to extinguish Ukraine. And I don't think they're going to win. Hitler tried to kill the Jews, and he didn't win.
Yeah.
Your people were persecuted, but it's still there. The religion's still there.
Yeah, and we fucking got a lot of money, baby. So, like in India, our people are fucking bank, man. Like,
How come? How does that
I
come
don't know.
about?
I don't know exactly. I feel like I don't know if we're just tight asses and we know how to industrialize and look after our money. But I think it was something to do with when we came to India originally and we were put in charge of a lot of the shipping and trade kind of jobs, or we started going in that direction, and that just built from there. You know, and then now, Zoroastrians or Parsis as they're known, which is like the what Zoroastrians in India are called.
What are they called?
Parsi.
Parsi.
Parsi, so P-A-R-S-I, like Farsi, but with a P.
All right.
And I don't know if that's linked, but
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, and then they somehow are some of the most fucking wealthiest fucking people in India. It's crazy.
Have I seen a Zoroastrian in Melbourne? Do they have a particular dress like the Sikhs have that hubcap bracelet?
You may have. They have like a. We've got like I don't don it, but there's like a kind of singlet and a kind of thread kind of thing that you kind of wear. But again, not really. But yeah, I reckon you've definitely heard of probably our most prominent member. Have you heard of a guy called Freddie Mercury?
Oh wow!
Yeah. Originally Zoroastrian. Obviously not non-practicing.
Of course,
and stuff like that.
But his parents were.
Farouk Barsara was his name.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So his parents were, and if you've seen obviously have you seen the movie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So they don't really dwell on that. But
no, they don't. But they do show the parents were strict and religious.
Yeah. And if you look at the documentary, about him or about Queen, which was, I think, released. Oh, they showed it not long after the movie came out, and they interview his mum, and his mum is like, I know so many fucking aunties and grandparents that exactly are like his mum.
They're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's like he was, and he kind of, I think he was born in, Tanzania, and then he went to India for a bit. He was at a school. My grandparents ran a school back then, and he was at a school like down the road.
Yep.
And then I think after that, like in his late teens or early 20s, they moved to the UK, and that's where shit popped off.
Right. It sounds like India was a place that allowed your people to thrive and practice their religion without persecution.
Yeah.
So when you really look into India, you realize that it's a lot of different people.
There's a lot, 120 or so languages.
Whereas Dave from Craigieburn would be like, they're fucking Indians.
Exactly.
If you really look deep. Like
it's
the Punjab are a warrior race.
Yeah.
They're very hardcore with their...
Yeah, the Sikhs, they carry around a traditional dagger.
Yeah, and they are very similar to the Cretans of Greece, an island nation below Greece.
Yeah, I've heard that comparison before,
You have?
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, they wear black, they carry daggers, and when I travelled to Greece in 98, my mum said to me, don't fuck with the Cretan girls. They will kill you. The parents will kill you.
Yeah.
So I was privy to that, because one of my cousins got into trouble and almost died.
Yeah, oh fuck. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So back to sorry I cut you off.
No, you're right. Oh, where were we? There's a lot going on in India, and it's just like the diverse. Like it's fucking 1.4 billion people. If they were the same, there'd be something fucked with that country, So
totally.
But it's just like from north to south, and even the best part about it is obviously the food. But like it's just so as same as it is, it's so fucking diverse as well across the whole country. Yeah. But it's all spicy, so you're naturally going to shit yourself wherever you go in India.
So, is your mother Zoroastrian and your father?
Both are Zoroastrian. Both.
And they migrated to India.
So they were born, I think they were there.
They were born in India?
Generations back would be in India.
Oh my God.
So we're talking about...
This is huge. This is like... In 500 years, my kids saying they're Greek, but they've always the lineage has been born in Australia.
That's exactly it.
Man,
so
you
it's
guys
like
have held that tight.
Yeah, so I'm like that's the thing because I tell people I'm Indian, and a lot of people go, yeah, all right, I get that, but then a lot of people go, oh, you kind of look Lebo or Turk, and I'm like, all right, well, here's the thing, and I say fucking Persian Indian. Like, what does that mean? And I got to fucking sit there and give a whole spiel.
Oh, you poor fucker, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's terrible telling people about yourself, man. But yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. I'm not very. I don't practice at all. I think religion's horseshit, and
well, you're a comic.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
what's the first thing we do?
There are religious comics. There fucking are, and there's some good comics and surprisingly religious comics, and it fucking scares me.
I'd love to have a religious comic on the show.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to push too hard on it, because I pushed my mum a bit, and I feel really bad about that.
Yeah, of course.
Because, I know for a fact that I believe there's enough historical evidence, this is just my opinion, right, that Jesus existed.
Yeah.
But to make the incredible leap that he performed all these miracles, like that's hard for a comic.
Yeah.
Or for someone that was educated in a really good education system here in Australia. The first thing they teach you in education is how to learn.
Yeah.
And how to learn is there's certain tools in your chest that allow you to decipher information and hold it up to a certain standard.
Yeah, and critique information as well. And it's just like...
It's hard, man.
Like, I feel like, talking like... I feel like that, all that kind of stuff is, like, religious stuff is like, okay, there's not many religious people left on this fucking planet.
No.
This city, definitely. It's like, no one... It's not... Even, like, in the last 10 years, it's just like... It's... Maybe because the world has turned to so much shit that people are like, there's no way there's a God, and if there is, he's a cunt. Like
I know exactly. I've often heard that argument.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just. I feel like it has something to do with there was very minimal record keeping around the time of religion when religions kicked off. So if one cunt wrote a book everyone's going to believe that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it's just your Facebook account.
Exactly.
And no one else can have one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, of course he fucking walked across water, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I found, I agree with you, religion, bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But one thing I found absolutely beautiful and humbling was to actually go one day to church with my mum recently. And I found that it's such a soothing place for her.
Yeah.
And it gives her so much benefit and joy.
I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I get that. I fucking wish I had that.
Yeah, they make bread, and they all bring their bread to church, and then they cut it up, and they help the priest, and they gas bag, but it's a wonderful club.
Because there's a sense of community, but also peace as well, and it's like that's why every cunt's doing fucking yoga and meditation. It's because the spirituality and the peace and the fucking leveling out of religion, because it's all fucking blinded by money, by stories, by fucking religious infights, by make-believe stories about who the fucking God is and who this and that. But the underlying thing is that it's a community of people coming together peacefully.
And I think it's got a place.
Yeah.
I think religion definitely has a place.
Does.
As long as it doesn't interfere with the progression of science and technology.
Yeah, which unfortunately it has, and that's why it's got so fucked.
And now to a lesser extent.
Of course, now it's like, now
it's cool.
It's like no one really but it makes sense as to why, like, you know, fucking like our generation and the one after us, like how meditation has got such a huge focus in the last fucking 10 years. Like I tell people I meditate. I mean, I do it once a year, maybe once a month. But like when you get in the zone with it, it's like fucking it's great, and you get that because it's that level of presence, it's that level of calm. When you do fucking yoga in class, like I'm not a big yoga dude, but when I've done it in class settings, it's the same kind of fucking deal. And I'm talking about like proper yoga, not with just some fucking, you know, some white girl that's gone to fucking India for 2 weeks and taken a course. Do a longer course maybe, I don't know. But like when you do it in a group setting, it's kind of like you fucking get that level of fucking presence and that calm, but also in a community. And I kind of get that because there's not, like, if you take religion out, which is happening, there's nothing else like that.
Yeah, meditation will fill that gap. Yoga clubs fill that gap.
Yeah.
Anything that brings people together with an underlying set of values and virtues that are positively inclined.
Yeah.
It's a fucking religion.
Exactly.
You know, so it's and I can see why it's gaining in popularity because people have critiqued religion.
Yeah.
And they've moved on to something else. And we live in such an over-communicated society. There's so much shit coming at us, being bombarded. Now, if you take back, you know, pretend we were living in 1980 or 1975 right now.
Yeah.
It'd be, you and I would have to correspond via telephone.
Yeah.
And that's it.
How did people do shit back then?
I don't
it's
fucking
like crazy.
know. I was traveling, you know how I spent 10 years in England doing stand-up? My main job was to just meet a driver and just head out into a village in fucking England. The sun would set at 3:30 and it would be pitch dark by 4. So we're driving and we had sat-nav and all these windy roads and villages in the UK. And I asked this comic, I'm like, how the fuck did you do this before technology? And they were like, number one, very difficult. But two, they had a Malways, like the A to Z, it's called in London, with a torch. And there'd always be an appointed navigator in the car.
Fuck, man.
And they'd have reference points of phone booths, and they'd pull over and stop and call the publican on the phone and go, we're here. And the publican would be like, okay, you fucked up. You got to go back, turn left. So it was fucking...
And you'd get a story on the way to fucking telling stories, whereas now you just
so
get
the MC could just rant. The MC would have a nice 5-minute chunk of material about getting lost and getting here and how...
Yeah, because remember how fun getting lost was? You'd have to ask people for directions. You'd see your parents fight because your dad didn't want to ask for directions.
Yeah.
Now it's like you get lost. It's like, all right, you find someone... Like, it's crazy because you have no... Like today I came to your place and, you know... You say, give me a call when you're here. And I gave you a call. Your phone was off. So I sent you a message. Like, no problem. Like, but imagine you didn't answer your phone. Imagine I didn't have a fucking phone. And I just came assuming that you'd answer the door. Like, you'd have to give me your address. Like,
and
if something happens in that 20 minutes between leaving the house and not, like, it's like, well, that's it. You wait for a friend, and if they don't show up, you go home.
Yeah.
Like, there's no texting, there's no nothing. It's like,
If someone were to ask me now on the street, what's the time? I'd
Yeah.
be like, what the fuck?
yeah, you
what do you
fucking
mean? What the,
psycho.
where
yeah.
are you from? Are you from the past?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Do you reckon
What's the time?
that's like harmed us as a like, and I use the word specifically as a society,
Has it, say that again? Has it?
harmed us as a society, not being able, because like,
I think we're in a transitional phase.
yeah,
I think if we make it through to the other side,
'cause-
I don't know how much you think about this, but I think we're going to eventually. Have you heard of Kurzweil? He's a scientist that believes we're going to eventually marry technology by biological symbiosis.
okay, yeah.
So I think that's where we're heading.
I feel like, yeah.
I mean,
movies are
how
true.
else can we go to Mars and live on Mars? We're
Yeah.
going to have biological artificial intelligence implanted in our brain that helps us regulate our system.
Oh man, I don't.
So
yeah,
and cosmic rays. We're gonna need something to propel gamma radio. It's all fucking. I reckon we're gonna be so fucking different. So is it doing harm to us now? Maybe our generation,
Maybe,
yeah, but
yeah.
we're in a transition. We're
and
pushing our shit through
we're
right now.
because how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
46.
46.
No, I
So-
don't mind. Yeah.
And I'm 38, so we're kind of in that transitional generation as well, where it's kind of like we've had both ends of the spectrum in our youth.
Yeah, we have, you're right.
And it's like
We had the before and after.
yeah, and the next generation maybe no, they don't. They actually don't. Millennials haven't really had that. Maybe they've had because by the time they're in their teens, they've had phones and shit like
Yeah.
that. But like our generation was the one that in high school and shit, we would go out without a phone. We would go out with like a call from the day later, meet me here at 3:00 on Thursday, and no other communication till then.
Yeah.
And then we would go out with our parents looking at the Melways and them fighting. But like now, like parents and family friends and shit, they have stories about how they met their wife or their best mate because they asked them the time on the fucking street.
Yeah,
And there's
absolutely.
those stories are gone. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, and it's like, okay, you still interact with people. Like, it's not completely fucked, but like, I feel like, and I see it more especially after fucking lockdowns and COVID and stuff like that. I hate to blame that, but it's like people have gone because the entire planet is literally in front of them. That people, like, I think before we integrate with technology, our spines are going to curve. The neck curve is going to happen. Just like looking down constantly. Cause
Yeah,
we are.
right.
I
Bad
think
posture.
it's going to happen, and that's going to become the norm.
Oh, fuck.
Like the reverse scoliosis or whatever you want to call it. Scoliosis is the bottom part, so this will be.
Well,
the
for
top.
that to become the norm, chicks have to find it hot to fuck us with curved spines. Otherwise, it'll be bred out.
I don't
It's
think
natural
that's
selection.
so far fetched. Like chicks are finding moustaches hot again. So
Yeah,
what the
they
fuck?
are,
Yeah.
true.
So it's like, what about fucking curved fucking necks, man?
Yeah.
Because like that's gonna happen because it's like you don't have that. Like everyone's looking down, and the thing I was trying to say is that no, you like the whole world is like you don't need to ask anyone fucking anything.
You're right.
And with the last 2 years being so internal as well, and not going out as well, that like I think it's fucked us for a little while, and then we'll learn to adapt
And be better off.
and fuck the machines, and the machines will become more sentient, and then they'll be like people, and then yeah.
Do you have you thought about that? Like that?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Do you think like Elon Musk reckons we should build in a fail safe into every machine that we can turn it off? Otherwise, it can ruin us. Do you believe in AI like T2?
I think so. Like it's a lot further away than some of the movies say,
yeah.
but something like it's already fucking happening. Like in a way, like you go on a dating app and you start chatting to a bot, and if a bot's fucking and this is definitely not happening to me. I'm going to say it on camera. Definitely hasn't happened to me. No, but like if you start, and if their AI is fucking like there's stories of people fucking chatting to someone getting scammed, and it just turns out to fucking be a bot, and it's
Wow.
happened, and you're already invested in that shit. Like, and there's been fucking documentaries and stuff made about it, but it's like I feel like that. Have you seen that movie Her with?
Yes.
Amazing movie.
Yeah, great
but
movie.
I'm like, that's not that far fetched. That's when AI gets to the next level of really being able to detect emotions and carry out its own emotions. It's like it's gonna fucking happen. You go on a dating app, you have access to so many people at once. You go on social media, have access to so many people at once, and it's like At some point, a machine is going to slip through the cracks.
Will you allow that? Like, there's something I saw that the first thing we may experience in our generation when we turn, say, 70 or 80, and we lose our partner, they believe that the first step will be they can get all the messages and texts, correspondence from Facebook from your partner, congeal it all into an algorithm, and present it to you via AI that you can choose to be communicated to after she's passed.
It's a fucking Black Mirror episode, isn't it?
Yeah, via text messages.
I think it'll be possible, but I don't know, man.
I wouldn't do it because it would fuck. You'd never, you know what it'd be doing? You'd be picking at the wound.
Yeah.
And you'd never allow it to heal.
Yeah.
So you're constantly living in the past. For me, it's a
no-brainer.
no-brainer.
Experience proper grief and loss. Like that's a human emotion you need to experience.
Yeah.
And I think it's a no-brainer, but I do it still. Like you still fucking like you have access to old photos, old memories, and old shit like that. And it's like people say I delete all of them. I was like, you can't delete everything. You have access to, past partners and fucking and sometimes they just fucking pop up. You don't even go digging for them. Now we're at that point where Facebook memories, Google like pops up fucking photos if you're past, and like suddenly there's 10 photos just on your notifications of you and your past partner. And you're like,
that's really cruel from Facebook. My mate's got a good joke about that. He's like, that's really cruel from Facebook. I'm just getting over her.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, here's 7 years ago, you and her having a lot of fun. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, but it's like that's the fucking kick. That's the start, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I mean, if you dug deep enough, you could find fucking voicemails. You could find fucking WhatsApp voice notes. You can
the
find
whole
like
thing.
the whole. It's already there.
How she talks.
It's already there, and they've got
her nuances, inflections.
They have the technology to take all that and make an AI bot. And it's like I think that a lot of people would do it. And I'm saying when I say a lot of people, I'm saying our generation, next generation as well, because people aren't experiencing all these fucking emotions as much. And you wonder why there's a fucking anxiety crisis. And there is. I fucking have it, but it's like, I don't think we're exposed to as many emotions as we used to be. And when we get exposed to them, they fucking hit us hard. Because they're like, we have access to so much shit, we're not used to sacrificing as much. We have access to so much fucking knowledge, we're not used to being dumb as much. And when suddenly we're shown to be ignorant, it fucking hits you so hard because you're like, I'm a fucking dumb cunt, and the anxiety kicks in, you get imposter syndrome, and you like fall flat on the floor and you can't take it. Whereas people in the past were used to being dumb, and I mean, you'd either go one way and start a fucking fight with someone about it, or you just go, that part is an experience that I have, I'm dumb about this, I won't be able to find out about it until I study it. Now you just fucking look it up.
That's an interesting perspective. I've never heard it like that before, but it sounds...
I think we're just so used to watered down emotions that when the real ones hit, it's so hard to fucking take them. I feel like that's a lot of why people are so anxious at the moment. It's like when we're used to tidbits of everything. We're used to tidbits of videos, like fucking 15-second clips, fucking correspondence that's like one line. Whereas in the past, you'd have chunks of letters, you'd have fucking full videos, and like you'd be able to take in everything. Whereas now we've got so much information, but you're taking just tiny segments of everything.
So what you're saying is, ironically, we're more connected than ever before, but at the same time, we're way more disconnected at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like we're not experiencing depth of everything as much as we could. You're experiencing a lot of shit, which is fucking great in so many ways. But, we're not experiencing as much depth in something as you potentially could. There's fucking people who are, old people right now that their partner dies, or they don't fucking remember what they sound like. They don't have access to a voice. They have access to maybe, think people, back in the 50s, they might have access to 1 or 2 grainy fucking black and white photos that they've got, and that's it. And they got to hold on to that memory, and they're experiencing everything. Whereas if you go to what we were talking about before, it's like you won't experience any loss except the fact that they're not physically present. But every other part of them is going to be fucking around. And it's like a fake experience, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
It's fucking heavy. I think it's a weird time, and it's like I feel like there's the ability of humans to adapt to that, and we will maybe learn a way And that could be fucking the machines. That's where we're getting at.
Yeah.
It could be, getting more intertwined with them. I don't know what it is, but I feel like
We will adapt.
there's
Absolutely.
that's what we've done. We've always
Yeah.
adapted. But
The fact that the biggest countries on Earth all have nukes
yeah,
is a good thing because we won't blow each other up.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
they've all got them.
yeah, yeah,
So everything will be a small proxy war,
yeah.
tit for tat, and it'll allow us to keep pushing in the right direction and evolve and adapt.
I hope so. I fucking hope so.
I think so. I can't see an endgame result where Russia blows up Ukraine with an atomic bomb.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why would you do that? Like, you're fucked. America's going to retaliate.
Yeah,
Or someone will retaliate because you can't have a rogue country dropping nuclear bombs.
yeah, that's
And
true.
as much as Russia threatens, everyone knows, no, you're not.
Yeah,
So I think we will make it.
I feel like we will. Maybe
But I do feel what we will become. I don't even know what we'll become, but I do know in my heart that it'll if I was transported into the future to see what we became, I'd be frightened.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's not human anymore.
yeah, yeah. And it's like the other aspect of that is the whole climate thing as well. I mean, that could be the fucking great balancer. Like, it could where essentially fucking up the climate is fucking up the environment for us to live in. In the end, long term, the Earth will be fine. As much as we devastate it, it'll still always be there.
Yeah.
But it'll just fuck us over because of how much we fucked it over.
Exactly.
So maybe
right.
that will be the great balancer. I don't
Maybe,
know.
yeah, to bring us back a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Hey, man, I've got to go.
Fuck, all right.
That's
This has
an
been good.
hour.
Yeah,
This
shit.
flows. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, this has been awesome, dude. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, I'll plug my show. Lido Comedy is on every Tuesday in Hawthorne at the Lido Cinemas. Facebook and Instagram, Lido Comedy. That's it at the moment. I might have some shit to plug in later in the year, but right now I'm very quiet.
If you're in Hawthorne or around the area, check it out. It's every Tuesday. It's a wonderful, intimate space. Wonderful art. Thank you very much, man.
Cheers, Johnny.
Cheers, brother.